Little Stephen Bryan from Mooresville, Indiana was just 3 years old when he went missing mid-2022. Stephen's mother, Deborah Bryan, and father, Tyler Bryan, was in the process of getting divorced and in the middle of a custody battle when Stephen, Deborah and her boyfriend, Caleb Blevins, disappeared. In June 2022, Stephen was last seen with 30-year-old Caleb in a silver 2020 Toyota RAV4 SUV. Caleb's ex-wife, Abigail Kenworthy, reported him missing after not visiting their child, which was unusual. A silver alert was issued in August 2022. Investigators eventually learned that Deborah's bank account had been emptied and closed, and her and Caleb's cell phone numbers had been deactivated. Detectives filed an arrest warrant for Deborah for interference with custody. On July 9, 2024, after 2 years of searching and investigating, Stephen was located inside a residence in Bloomington, Indiana. His mother was taken into custody for her warrant by the Indiana State Police and Stephen was released to the Department of Child Services. Caleb was interviewed and released. Detectives are continuing this investigation to determine if Deborah was assisted by others to avoid apprehension. If it is determined that others assisted her during this incident, additional charges may be filed. But while the local Mooresville Police Department celebrates a job well done, Deborah's family called the boy's recovery anything but a joyous moment. Deborah's uncle, Tom Cash, said he is now more in fear for the boy's life than he has been during the last 2 years he was missing. He said, "It's honestly the worst place to see your child in the custody of CPS, but I hope they keep him in CPS before they give him to Tyler." Mooresville Police Chief, Kerry Buckner told reporters that Stephen is fine, he was found unharmed. His mother was just hiding him out because of the custody battle. Deborah was described by her family as a doting, loving mother. According to a relative, Deborah hid him to escape abuse and because she feared for their lives. According to Tom, Deborah and Tyler's relationship, which began when they were young and ended shortly before she vanished with Stephen in 2022, was fraught and marred with domestic violence. Tom claimed that his niece was terrified of Tyler, who had threatened to end her life on more than one occasion. Tom said, "She finally decided to get a divorce because if she couldn't do it for her, she wanted to do it for her son, to keep him safe." Debbie used to sleep next to Stephen at night to ensure he was safe. She spent months getting a game plan together to get a divorce and get away from Tyler. Police Chief Kerry Buckner said he was unaware of any prior domestic violence claims against Tyler within his jurisdiction. However, court records show that Tyler was charged with domestic battery, threatening to commit a forcible felony, and domestic battery in the presence of a child in Indianapolis in January 2021. The charges against Tyler were later dismissed as part of a reduced plea, and a no-contact order, which was put into effect by a judge, was also rescinded. According to the 2021 police incident report, Tyler allegedly threatened to shoot Deborah and struck her in front of their son. When police arrived on the scene, Deborah was hiding in a neighbor's home. The report read, Ms. Bryan started a video to record her interaction with Tyler on the phone. Ms. Bryan stated that Tyler threatened her with a firearm and attacked her on the street while she was holding Stephen. The attending officer noted that Deborah appeared to have a cut on her eyebrow and redness around her cheeks. Deborah told police that Tyler followed her and allegedly hit her 4 to 5 times in the face with a closed fist while she was holding her son in the middle of the street. She said that the cut on her eyebrow was from an earlier incident, but Tyler could have reopened it when he hit her. According to the report, the argument began when Deborah called Tyler to ask him when he'd be home, which is said to have angered him. Officers attempted to take Tyler into custody, but he refused to exit the house. Officers ordered Tyler out of the house using their PA, personal address, system in their patrol car. Tyler exited the house and was taken into custody. Initially, Tyler was not willing to apply with commands and resisted being placed in handcuffs. Tyler was informed of his rights and agreed to speak with officers. He stated that he would not hit his wife and she did not call 911. However, Tyler's mom, Sheila Bryan, claims this incident was a setup and that her son's remarks about shooting Deborah were nothing but an empty, heat-of-the-moment threat. She said, "Tyler is not a violent person. He has never been a violent person. He's done some silly stuff in his life when he was younger, but it was never fighting or anything like that involved." She also said, Deborah was always filming him secretly, and who does that? She'd do it to try and make him say something or make him look bad. Debbie is the violent one. I've seen her hit and slap Tyler before, but he has never laid a finger on her. She also said that Tom's allegations about her son is absolutely false. Sheila described Deborah as controlling and claimed that it was her son who initiated their divorce. She said Tom is just making things up. Sheila said, Tyler loves Stevie so much. He's been through hell missing his son so much because he hasn't seen him for 2 years. He'd never hurt Steven. Ever. Authorities released him to Tyler right away and they've just been having the best time together. Sheila accused Deborah of conspiring to get Tyler put in jail so she could take his son away from him for good. When that plan failed, she ran away with him instead. Deborah failed to show up for a custody hearing between the time she was last seen and when she was reported missing. As a result of her absence from court, Tyler was granted temporary emergency custody of the boy. Deborah was charged with misdemeanor interference with custody in December 2022 for failing to surrender the boy to his father. Court records show that Deborah asked the Indiana Court of Appeals to reverse a lower court's ruling that awarded custody of Steven to Tyler. Tom said he has spoken to Deborah since her arrest and described her as broken over the situation. She threw her life away to try to save her son. Tom said, Steven loves his mother. That's who his true love is. I hope they're reunited soon, but all we can do is sit back and wait. Sheila, meanwhile, states that despite the events of the last 2 years, she hopes Tyler and Deborah can come to some kind of resolution to ensure Steven has the best life possible. She wishes that Deborah gets the help she needs so that they can co-parent Steven together effectively, and that Deborah realizes that she can't just run off with Steven. Deborah is currently going through the necessary proceedings to make bail. She is currently being remanded on a $1,000 bond. She immediately retained an attorney after her arrest and refused to cooperate with investigators. Caleb, her boyfriend, who has not yet been charged with any offenses, offered minimal information before being released. Steven is now living with his dad. Tyler says he rushed to the local Child Protective Services offices after receiving the call about Steven's rescue. He said, he was kind of shocked. He wasn't planning to see me, but he just walked right up to me at first. He knew right who I was and it's been great. Police Chief Carey said, my detectives are still working on this. We're trying to determine if anyone helped them hide, and we want to go further and try to interview the child to find out what has been happening for the last 2 years. Being that young, I don't think children that age really know what's going on, but we want to make sure nothing happened during the time they were missing and that there's no lasting psychological effects.